Welcome to You're Still Doing That, where we talk to everyday people about their childhood joys that have endured into adulthood. Joining me today is
I'm Bill.
And I'm Karen.
welcome, Bill and Karen. What do you guys do today that you still did as kids?
Well, that would have to be art in general. Like I've had a passion for art and drawing, and which led to animation since about like first or second grade when I first learned how cartoons were actually made. Like we had a assembly where an animator came down from Los Angeles and showed us how cartoons are made, and that totally like opened my eyes. Well, mostly because I knew I wanted to do art, but all the adults in my life were asking me, "That's great. How are you going to make money doing that?" And so when this guy came down and he said that, I was like, "That's art, and that's a job." Boom! All my all my problems are solved.
All right, Karen and Bill, welcome to the show where tens of people are going to get to hear you. You've made it to the big time,
Woohoo!
right?
Hey, all 10 people of you out there.
Yep. All right. You guys founded Chubby Beagle Productions, and you've worked in
Yes.
animation for quite some time now. Let's hear how that got started. So, where were you guys born at?
Well, I was born in Long Island, New York, but
Mm.
my parents quickly moved out to San Diego.
But you don't remember any of
I don't
that.
remember. I was like a year old. Like that's nothing. So I'm practically a native Southern Californian.
Yeah, and yeah, I was born in Orange County, and my parents moved down to San Diego, so totally SoCal.
And I am Orange County myself. I was born in
Hey.
West Covina.
Oh no way!
Yes, right in the suburbs of Los Angeles, and we moved out here to North Carolina when I was 11. So I still
Oh,
call myself a Californian, but I've been here for quite some time.
yeah, 11 works. Yeah, I was actually born in Orange, California.
Orange, California. I love it.
Orange.
All right, so tell me, how did you guys get into drawing? When did you first realize that was going to be your gig?
Well, for me, I always just love to just like I was kind of I learned to kind of be quiet and sit down with like a sketchbook or a notepad and just kind of doodle and stuff. And I just kind of took that into school, and I think for a while there's a whole bunch of different careers I wanted to try out. And what just kept sticking was I like to draw. I'm always drawing. I had
Right.
notebooks filled up with drawings. Instead of taking notes, I was doodling in class. Like
Yep.
I was that kid,
Yep.
and yeah, it was something I just loved to do. And it was that was I think it was right after high school. I won like a gold medal in art. They were like, hey, no, Bill's an artist.
Right.
I got some recognition on that, and that was kind of just where it's like, hey, I'll let's see where this can take me, and that's where I got into animation, and kind of went from there.
Sweet. Karen, how'd you get into drawing?
Well, yeah, I just always loved it. Like every time they'd have, like the stations in kindergarten, like the building station or the, playing house station, I'd always go straight for the crayons and like straight for the crayons in the art station. And so it's like I just always enjoyed it. It was just always fun. And whenever I was bored, that would be just the thing I'd always want to go to. Also, when I was little, in my elementary school, they started that weird track system where it was like year
Yeah.
round school. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
I don't even know if they still do it anymore. It was odd,
No.
but
They
so
do it
that
here.
Oh, they do. Okay,
Oh,
They sure
it's
do.
hard on the parents. It was hard on my mom to try to find, place for me to go every 2 months, while she had to
Yep.
work. So I went to my grandma's house and stay there, and my grandma would mostly just be sitting there watching Bob Ross and Sister Wendy and all the
Nice.
artists on PBS, and so there was
Right.
also like a little old Scottish guy that would paint sheep. It was just like a full
Yeah.
afternoon of just watching
Right.
like
Right. Right.
everything. And so that was just I really clicked with Bob Ross and it was just fun. I guess we bonded over it and it was just
Yep.
like that just cemented like art is cool. In my head.
Right.
Hmm.
So, did you guys have any teachers or people along the way that really inspired you to pursue drawing?
I've got a fun story for that one. So I was, how old was I? I was taking a, I must have been like at least middle school, and I was flying out east to visit family. Like it was some sort of there was something going on where I had to fly by myself, and I was nervous and excited because I was like, hey, I get to be big kid flying on my own sort of
Right.
thing. And I ended up sitting in the seat, and I had brought like sketchbooks and all this stuff to keep myself busy, and I was sketching and doodling on the plane, and the guy next to me is like, so you're an artist. And turns out this guy was a full-on artist himself, and he gave me like the best lesson like a middle school person could ask
Awesome.
for. He showed me about like depth, and like he showed me like, oh yeah, you gotta take it this way and think about more like more three dimensions. And I was like what,
What? Right.
like totally nicest guy in the world. Like, and like I felt like, oh, he just kind of like scooped me up in the wing. Never saw that guy ever again. Uh, it's just because we had 6 hours, and he was probably bored too. So,
Oh yeah.
Faded away to
and he faded
ether.
away
Yeah.
into nothing. And
Flew back up
I
to
never
heaven.
got his name. If I did, I probably forgot it. But yeah, no, like
Right.
that's probably like the earliest best. Like I had like, and don't get me wrong, I had other great teachers throughout high school, but that was like, that always struck me as like that was the first time I ever felt like I had like a teacher, and it was just some random guy in an airplane.
Yeah. Awesome. That is a good story.
That was a good one.
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah.
I didn't even know that one.
Oh, I thought I told you that one.
Oh,
Uh,
cool.
so, how did you guys end up meeting?
We met in
In
college,
college.
actually, at
College?
art school. So yeah, it was actually, I transferred to the Art Institute in San Diego, and he'd already been going there for a year
Yeah.
because I transferred from a community college, and it was literally my first class there. And it was pretty funny because it was a I don't even remember what class. It was just in a computer lab.
Oh god,
So
I
we
don't
were all
remember the
sitting
class
in,
either.
yeah, I don't remember the class specifically, but so we're all sitting there, and I was just sitting there just like completely overwhelmed because it was like my first class at this new school, and it was art school, so it was intimidating,
Right.
and
Right.
then the two guys next to me, and actually we're still friends with the other guy, were just yucking it up and laughing, and they just would not shut up. And but the thing was that the jokes were so funny, they kept making me laugh. So it was so hard because I was like, both like, do you guys shut up so we can focus on the class? But dang, that was a funny joke, you know. So it was so I guess that kind of broke the ice because then you just kept sitting next to me all the time, probably because I laughed at
Probably
your
because you
jokes.
laughed at my dumb jokes. Yeah. Ah, she thinks I'm funny. All right, I'm
There
in.
you go.
I'm in.
Right. If you can make them laugh, then you're in. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
All right. All right. All right. Here we go.
But actually, we were friends for like a year before we started seriously dating.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that wasn't even the dating part. That was just when we first met.
That was just being for the first time. But yeah, that we got together. We got together in college, and yeah, it worked out pretty well.
It worked
So,
out.
all right. So, let's get into some of your professional accolades. So, I am jealous of anybody that has credits on IMDb.
Oh.
So, I am desperately trying to figure out how I can be like corpse number 2 in somebody's F-rated movie that I can be able to
Perfect.
get a credit.
Just gotta put it out there. Be like, hey,
That's
anyone need a
right.
corpse? I'm here.
If
That's
we,
I'm
if
right.
here.
we if we ever need a side voice or something, we'll call you up and
Yeah,
be
we'll
like,
be like,
we just need you to cough. You know,
like
Please
Matt,
do.
be
Yeah.
someone going, all right, there you go.
Perfect. I love it. So, according to IMDb, Bill, your first credit is Gorillaville.
Yes.
And
Oh God. Oh God.
yeah,
Yeah.
That was a while ago.
That was a long
and
time ago.
and Karen, you're credited with Crab Cove and Timon and Pumbaa, if I can say it right, the
Oh yeah.
safety video. So those
Yes.
are kind of neat. Now I know those probably weren't your first gigs at all. What were some of your earliest paid gigs as artists and animators?
Oh, as artists and animators, because the Timon and Pumbaa one, I was a production
Yeah, production
production
assistant.
assistant.
But you helped out with some of
I
the.
did
Yeah,
actually.
you
It
actually
was
got to do some
so.
of it.
It was literally a safety video that Disney wanted made for I don't know what, and they were literally so it was so low budget and so like the deadline was so slammed that they literally had me flipping over like scenes from like Timon's running, so they're like, but we need him running from the right, so flip it over and trace it from the back. And now he's running the other way. Bam, we got the scene done. All right, moving on. And it's like, and this
Oh
one
my
makes me
god.
blink. And it was like they just had me, the lowly production assistant, like throwing that together, and that was a wild ride because it was so, because it was kind of Disney but not, because it was farmed out to the little commercial studio I was working for. And so yeah, that was definitely a first foray into the industry I'll never forget. Kind of like,
Yeah.
that's a great first story because everyone was stressed and everyone was worried, and they kept burning through animators because they were low budget, so they do a little bit and then quit, and then we'd have to get more, and then they do a
Oh
little and
my
quit.
god.
I know. And
Oh
then
my
it was so
god.
great that, yeah, you came to the big
Oh
screening.
yeah, the big screening. Yeah, she tells me like, hey, we're gonna go watch that Timon and Pumbaa thing at the Disney Animation Building. And of course,
It's
like
like
we're fresh out of we were still fresh out of animation school, so it's like,
a
oh,
couple
the
years.
Disney Animation Building. I am
Right,
so
right.
there. I'll be your plus
The
one.
big hat building,
And we
yeah.
get there, and we well, I'll let you tell the story, but it was we
I
got we
don't.
got there, well, I remember getting there, and I'm like floating on cloud nine. I
Oh yeah, it
probably
was
like
so cool.
kid in a
Yeah.
candy store, and we get there, and I remember there was a who's who of animators that
Mhm.
no one else would probably know there who had worked on it, so that was exciting. But then we get there and we watch it, and it was so bad. you could feel you could feel I don't know if it was a cloud of tension or just like you could just feel
Well,
everyone's
because
kind of go
everyone was
like
so stressed.
you could
Everyone.
feel the tension of everyone's eyebrows that they kind of just furrowed them like what am I what we and then the poor person who like headed the project got up and was like, "Hey," trying to make this, trying to put
I,
lipstick on this
s-
pig,
I
and
still have absolutely no idea what it was for. Maybe a
yeah,
school, maybe it was literally like, Timon and Pumbaa teaching you to like how to put yourself out if you're on fire, or how to not
yeah,
stick a fork into
Yeah,
a thing.
that's what
Like,
it looked like when I saw a little bit of it.
oh, it's out there
Yeah.
somewhere. Yeah.
oh,
Yeah, I think it was on YouTube. It was,
Really?
just,
No way.
basic safety stuff, but it was Timon and Pumbaa telling you what to do.
Oh, but
Awesome.
there's a large crew of really talented people behind it who are all very stressed out.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It was almost like they gave them like $20 and a fresh sheet of paper. We're like, make this thing. It was
Oh my god.
I don't know the details because I was a production assistant. I just know, like, yeah, everyone was scrambling and everything was always behind and everyone was stressed. But it was, yeah, it was definitely a venture. I'll never forget that one for sure.
Fun. So you guys got to work together on Yabba Dabba
Oh
Dinosaurs,
yeah.
like
Yes.
Flintstones, kind of like a. It was almost like a prequel, wasn't it? It was a.
No, it was more like a
Was it
sequel. It was
a
because
sequel?
it
Kind
was
of. It
Oh,
was
that's
like
right.
a
It was the
reimagining kind of.
kids. Yeah, it
yeah,
was the
it
kids.
was all about Bam Bam and oh
Pebbles.
god, Pebbles. Yeah, Bam Bam and Pebbles and
Pebbles.
their kind of adventures.
It was like a
How did you?
reimagining of it because it was a different style and stuff. So, but the
Yeah.
same time frame. Yeah.
So how did you guys get into doing that show?
Oh, well, you got the interesting story
Well,
for that
so yeah, I was it was what's all right, let's roll the time back a little bit here.
one.
Okay.
I had just gotten laid off from a gig or from a job I was working for a game studio, and I had for a long time been wanting to transition from game animation work into television storyboard work, and that layoff just had me just I was just down. I was like, oh my
Right.
god, like I'm
Wasn't it unexpected
it
or
was
something? Yeah.
unexpected. I thought because it was for like a big game company. It was like Caesars Entertainment and all that things. It was like, hey, this company seems like it could last for a little bit, so you kind of like let your guard down. But it was yeah, so it was a total shock that job went away. And throughout the whole time, I had been sending off applications to television studios, like, hey, storyboard work. There's jobs available. Let me apply for that. And I had gotten tests back in animation when you apply for a job a lot of times if you'll send them your portfolio, you send them your resume, And then if they say, hey, we think this person can do it, they'll send you a test. And so I'd gotten a good number of tests for different shows. Like I tested for like DuckTales and South Park and a whole bunch of other ones.
Right, right,
But they all came back with just thanks for applying, thanks for the
right,
test,
right.
but we're gonna move on with someone else. And that gets disheartening. Like
Yeah,
I know, like, I'll say, like, and I'll say this to everyone, like, you don't take it personally. Don't take it personally. It's hard to not take it personally. You're gonna take it personally.
yeah.
It's gonna happen. So I was down, and so I started. That was when I first started streaming on Twitch.
When it was new.
When it was like brand new, like Twitch had just like it just come out. Like I don't know, it was like a year before or something that was fresh, brand new. And so I just started streaming just to give myself, all right, an hour a day. I'm gonna draw something just to keep my head out of
Right,
this
right.
dump that I'm getting myself into. And it was there on Twitch that I made friends with someone who was a director at Warner Brothers, and I was like
On a different show.
on a
though,
different
right?
show.
Yeah.
Like he was a director on a different show, and I made friends with him over Twitch. And because I was practicing like storyboard work, I was doing animation work. He's like, "Hey, your stuff's really good." And then one day he sent me an email like, "Hey, they're looking for board artists. I put your name in." So he kind of put the good word in for me, and they sent me a test, and I was able to get onto it. And that was my first studio job doing boards on a show. Yeah, and then I was into that show I think for like a month,
Really?
and like a month or two, and then they said, "Oh, we need people. They're just kind of like they're kind of going to the crew like, hey, we need people for these roles. Do you know anybody?" And I was like, "Well, I know her,"
Right.
and so I recommended you, and you got
Well,
the
they were actually, yeah, it was a show where they were actually having the animation crew be in house, which,
is almost
especially in the big studios at the time, it was like unheard of. So they were like, we're gonna actually get our own animation team, and we're gonna do the animation here. So that's when, yeah, you'd been doing storyboards for a little while, and then they were beefing up the animation team, and so I got in on layouts. So we were on the same show. We were just on different sides of the
different
room.
departments, yeah, almost
Yeah,
separated by merely like a cubicle wall.
That was a cubicle
right,
and
right, right.
an aisle.
Okay, a cubicle and an aisle. Yeah. I think if I wanted to get your attention, I could just throw something at you and hope
Well,
I hit
because he's
you.
super tall, so he probably could just look over everybody.
Right,
Anyway.
right. So you guys started your own company, Chubby Beagle Productions.
Mhm.
What made you go that route and get that started?
When we first started it, it was because I was doing a lot of freelance work, and that was going pretty good, and that was kind of rolling good. And so we were advised by our accountant. I was bringing in so like enough that they said like, hey, you should actually set up a corporation, to do this because it's going pretty good. So we're like, okay, sure. And so our first name was supposed to be Chickpeas, but that had been taken because our joke
Yeah,
is
yeah,
we're
yeah,
just
yeah,
yeah we're just two chickpeas in a pod, and
yeah.
animation studios, you got to have a funky name, they
Yeah,
all have
something
funky
silly.
names, yeah. And so our second choice, it was in honor of our dog Sally, who was a fat beagle. So we saw her and
Nice.
we were like, that's totally our groove, that's totally our vibe,
Yeah,
we just
it
want fun
works.
Yeah,
friendly beagles,
It
yeah.
works with the stuff we like to make, which is just dumb, stupid, adorable stuff.
Yeah, so at
right,
first it
right,
was
right.
it was my mainly like my freelance work, which was little stuff like YouTube videos, intro stuff, commercials, like little things. But then after a couple years of that, or maybe just 1 year of that, it was like I think we'd gone through like yeah, because layoffs and yeah, but Animators got canceled, and it was just
Mhm.
over and over and over again. We were just like, and we'd seen so many productions, and we'd seen stuff that we liked about productions, we'd seen stuff that we didn't like, and then we also saw that there's so much available. It's not like back before where all like you had to do animation in a studio because you needed the equipment and you needed the resources and you
Right.
needed the distribution. We were like, it's all at our fingertips. It's like
Yeah.
the computers are fast enough now. We've seen how it's done. We've done it ourselves with our small things, and so that's when we kind of changed. Like we were talking about it. We actually got a project with USC and Children's Hospital Los Angeles to do little animated vignettes for like a program they had for kids with kids going through like research studies. Is that what it's
Yep.
called?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was supposed to be a guide for because at Children's Hospital the doctors are always busy,
Hmm.
and but
Right.
the doctor is also heading up all these studies, and so to help facilitate the doctors having more time, it was this kind of virtual assistant program that they could then say, hey, your child is possibly available for this study on yet
Like diabetes or
like
something.
diabetes or
Yeah.
something like that. That was the example that was in the shorts we made, and so they would just if they had any specific questions or just kind of like they could watch this virtual assistant that would be interactive. You could ask it questions, and then for like questions or answers that are a little more complicated, they want to produce these short little vignettes, which could have kind of like
Right.
give you a bunch of information in a visual form, so it's
Hmm.
easier to take in. So we got this job, and we were kind of used to being the cogs in the machine. Like we're going to be the
Well, yeah,
animators.
I was used to getting thrown just the animation. You
Yeah,
know,
we're
it's
gonna.
like we
Well,
need this
yeah,
animated.
we'll
Yeah.
animate that, but someone else is going to handle other things, right? And they're like, yeah, so we kind of need you to do everything.
Well, they were like, "Oh, you could do it." We're like, "Yeah, we could totally do it, no problem." In their time frame, and they sent over the scripts, and they're like, "Cool, when can you be done?" And we're like, "Oh,
Like
it's
it's
everything."
everything. It's
They're like,
everything.
they need us to
Wow.
produce this thing, and so at first it was like a little bit of like, "Oh no," but then it was like, "Wait,
We know what
we
we
can
can
do
do
this."
this.
It's
We
like
know
I
what we're
know how to
doing.
do this. So that was like our first foray into it, and so yeah, we plugged along. We got them done. We had a great time, and that really switched our mind into thinking like we can do this, and it was
Yeah.
fun, and we
Yeah.
enjoyed it, and so we're like, this is a thing. This can be open to us. So that's like I think that at the end of that year was when we're like,
Yeah,
let's change the
let's
direction of
change the
this.
direction we're doing on this. And it became
Yeah.
more of like,
Let's grow something here. Yeah.
yeah, it became more of like, let's grow this business and see what we can get. And so it's more like, instead of like, let's take on just freelance work, it's more like, let's develop our own ideas and let's find clients that have big projects that we can produce and
Mhm.
attach our names to and help grow the company in that way.
And
And
Right.
yeah,
Right.
try to do things our way. Try to do like the things that we didn't like seeing in the animation industry. Do it differently and make it work. And
yeah, try
mhm.
and figure out like, okay, what if anything, it's been eye opening because it's been like, there's a lot that goes on in the industry that you don't know about because it's all
Yeah. Yeah.
behind.
Yeah.
You don't know why people are making decisions. You don't know why companies are making decisions. I mean, there's the strike. Watching all the strikes happen, it's like
Yeah.
all you can sit by in the sidelines, like, why are they doing this? And you have no idea because you're not in the room where they're
Right.
making the decisions. But having now we're on this side, we're on this part where it's like, oh, we're a company now. Well, whatever they're doing, they're making their decisions for their reasons. So we're just going to figure out why we're going to make our decisions for our reasons. And that's kind of like where we're going with the
Yeah, we
company.
build the teams the way we want to, tell the stories that we want to,
Yeah,
build the company the way we want to build it. Yeah.
That's right.
Cool.
And they usually, the more you can do in house, the better. A lot of
exactly.
times, the better it ends up being too. That's
Oh,
right. You don't have to
definitely.
worry about other people.
Oh,
Um,
definitely. Yeah.
so you guys are doing pretty good. Bill, you've gotten to work on some pretty big time shows. Housebroken on Fox
Yep.
and Central Park on Apple TV, which had lots of some big time voice actors attached to that film
Oh
for
yeah, that
that
was a great.
series. So how do you go about, or how did you get some big time shows swung your way that you got a chance to take part in?
Well, what happened was, yeah. We were both working at Yabba Dabba Dinosaurs, and that got I actually got laid off a little bit before it got canceled. I was working as I was an interesting position. I started out as a storyboard artist, and then they were about to lay me off, but then they thought like, no, wait, we need an extra, we still need an extra board artist to kind of float around on episodes and help the directors. So I was almost like an assistant director, but not officially. But I would kind of go around from episode to episode and kind of do odd jobs for everything. Like, oh, this scene needs to be restructured. Can you reboard this thing? Sure, I can do that. But then the budget on that show just got ballooned, and they're like, no, we can't keep you anymore. So I got let go. And then I think it was like 3 months later, the show got canceled. But in the process of that, I had reached out to some other producers that I had met, and other board artists that I knew, and that's kind of like how you get jobs in the industry. It comes down to
Right.
just, people, and they know that something's available, and they're like, oh, you're looking for work? Great. Let me find you. Let me, I'll find out what's going on here. Or as soon as I hear anything, I'll let you know. And what happened was, it was a friend that I'd made at Warner Brothers he was working on like all the Looney Tunes shorts, like down the hall.
Yeah.
And he said, oh, they're looking for people to board on a new show at Bento Box. They're the ones that do a lot of the Fox animation shows. And I said, great, yeah, who do I need to contact? So I got the information, I did a test, and it was so funny because I'd also done a test for a Warner Brothers show, Teen Titans Go. And I was really excited
Okay.
to work on that one. That one at the time was very much more like, this is my sensibility. This is the kind of work I want to work on. I'm really excited about it. My kids were huge fans of the show.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was kind of like, I really want this one. But then out of nowhere, Bento Box came in. And this was like months too, like months of waiting to hear things. And it can take time. It can take time for this to happen. And then finally, I get an email out of the blue from Bento Box. They're like, we love your work. When, here's an offer letter. When can you start? And I reached out to one of them, was like, hey, I got an offer letter. And they're like, oh, well, go ahead and take it.
Oh man.
Oh.
You were so stressed too. You're
I
like, what
was,
do I do? What
what
do
do
I
I
do?
do? I was so stressed out
And
about
then
it.
they get that reply back. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
go ahead and take the offer. Like, oh,
yeah, good luck to you. Like, what?
okay. But actually, it was a blessing in disguise because I've had a ton of fun at Bento Box. Yeah, I came in on Central Park, and God, that was a lot. That was a fun show to work on. Great team there, and it was. I really got to figure out, like, that's where I think I really learned what my sensibilities were, because I had what I wanted to do, which was like, I want to do like really cartoony stuff. But then when I got into doing these like primetime shows where it's more like, we want to be a little more realistic with some of our things, but also
Right.
still cartoony. I found myself like, I was just doing great on that show. I even ran into Josh Gad in an elevator, and as Karen said, I'm huge. I'm like 6'6", and I'm like over 300 pounds. And I got into an elevator, and then the elevator door's about to close, and it opens again. In comes Josh Gad with like, friends of his, and I think I scared the crap out of him, because he comes in this elevator all quickly, and here's this like giant in the elevator.
Oh
he
no.
got he got quiet real quick. um,
Who was the one that said, you're as tall as they make me look?
oh yeah. It was this. Yeah, this is a different story. It was at Warner Brothers. I was in the parking lot, you know, coming up in the elevator, and the elevator stops at the second floor, and in walks Danny Trejo with his
Yeah.
entourage of people.
Yeah.
And Danny Trejo's like tiny, like he's real short. And he looks up at me, compared to me, but he looks up at me and he's like, "Ha ha! That's how big they make me look
I was
in
about to
movies."
say, Danny Trejo does not look tiny in real. At
He
least
is
on
not.
the
He is
screen.
not. But
No.
like, you see, like to me, he in person, like, and we just laughed. That was funny.
Yeah.
But no,
Yeah. That was
Bento
pretty
Box
good.
has been great. And yeah, it's like, and then from season one of Central Park was ending, and basically I've just learned. I kind of just learned to kind of keep my ear out. You want to talk to people in production, just get to know people. And I heard that there was a new show starting up, the Great North, and they were actually looking for people, and they were just right down the hallway. So I got up, went down the hallway, talked to the producer, and said, "Yeah, I'm wrapping up here. Do you need people?" And they said, "Yeah." And I've been there
There
for
you
the.
go.
I've been there. We were working on the fourth season when the strikes happened. So we're hoping to find out if we're coming back.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah.
That one looked good too when I was looking through it as well. Now, you guys have some titles. I don't know if everybody exactly knows what these people do. So, Karen, let's start with you. You're credited as an animator. So, what exactly does an animator do?
It's a broad term. It depends. because it depends on like what you're working on specifically. Like every production is different, and so that's why it's hard. Yeah, you gotta know the details first. It's like, yeah, because like at Yabba Dabba Dinosaurs, animator meant literally animating. Like they were actually animating the show. Like
Right.
it was in Adobe Animate, and so they were actually animating in that program.
That's making the characters move and bringing them to life. Yeah.
Like I was doing layouts, and so that meant putting the files together, taking all the art
Gotcha.
pieces from the art departments and putting them together, sizing the characters, putting them where they're looking. Also identifying issues. Like sometimes there was stuff they didn't like expect. You know, like sometimes the characters would be in the wrong place or the hookups didn't work. Or in one, Yabba Dabba Dinosaurs, it was about the kids, but also the dinosaurs. They were like much more focused on the dinosaur
Yep.
creatures
Yep.
too. And there was one scene with a ton of dinosaurs. We put that layout together. All the dinosaurs were blue. Like they were all multicolored,
Oh,
you know, there was all different colors, but for some reason the dinosaurs they all picked were all blue. It was like this massive scene of just blue. So it was like stuff like that. That was layouts, yeah. And then and then we give it to the animators and they'd actually make them move in the scene. Sometimes animator, like when we were working in games and not like AAA games, but like apps and social games and stuff like that.
yeah.
Animators, like, yeah, sometimes making the characters move, sometimes designing the characters too. Like sometimes it was an
Right.
all-encompassing term.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like we were designing the characters, making like the animation was in games are more like looping animations usually, you know, so it's like doing that. Sometimes it's like I specialize in like more digital animation. It's 2D
Right.
technically, but it's not drawings on paper. It's in the programs, like whatever
Right. Right.
program they're using. Yeah, like Harmony, Animate, whatever. Yeah, again, you got to be flexible because every production uses a different
Yep.
program, you know, so you got to know a ton of different
Yeah.
programs at once. Yeah. And yeah, so I call myself a 2D animator sometimes or a digital animator. Sometimes they call that for a little while they called it 2.5D, but that kind of fell as a wayside.
That sounds weird.
That's too many
It
words.
does, right?
Too many
Yeah.
words.
Yeah.
But you can see like in the industry, it's like constantly changing and floating. Like every
Well,
like you gotta learn the details first before you even know, right?
you
Like
got
yeah.
that layout job because you applied as an animator. So it's
Mhm.
like the word means it does mean something, but it's like different job to job to job, and everyone's gonna have different descriptions and what they need. And sometimes it's almost like it's kind of thrown out there, design like, I just need an animator. Animator will take care of that. And it's
Mhm.
like, well,
Mhm.
how?
What does that mean? What is it like? Yeah, or sometimes they'll be like, yeah, what like um yeah, what will we need an animator for? It's like, well, what do you need done? You know,
Yeah,
it's like you might
Right.
need
Right.
designers, you might need animators, you might need both. Yeah,
yeah,
so it's it's not as cut and dry,
yeah.
you
The
know,
term, the terms,
because
the terms are loose. Like I'll hear a lot of times people
mhm.
say like, "Oh, such and such had great, beautiful animation,"
And they're
and
talking about the art
but they're
design.
talking about the art design.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're talking about like how beautiful the colors were, or how the drawings were done or crafted. That's art direction. Animation, like I've heard people say, like early South Park had great animation. Like, no, it's not. It's terrible animation. It's on a
But it
budget,
but it works
but
great.
it works because
And you know what's
that's the style of the show, and that it works with its crude humor and
what
everything.
threw me the biggest loop is that it's 3D animation.
Yeah, that was that's yeah. A
When I
lot of the new stuff is
applied
all
for
3D.
South Park the first time, yeah, they were like, "Oh, what was it, Maya or something?"
Yeah,
It
they
was
do
all
it all in
3D. I was
like
like,
3D
"Excuse me."
programs. Yeah.
I was like, "What?" So it's like, yeah, everything's, and then also there's productions and studios that farm out their animation. So they'll be
Right.
looking
Right.
for
Right.
animators, but they'll be looking, yeah, for more layout artists or even retake animators, which fix the stuff that comes back from overseas. Yeah, so it's like and so that's when you get the overseas animation, and of course there's always going to be problems or things to fix or stuff that didn't translate well, and so you got to put it on model or put it on timing, or you know, it's like you got to fix it. Yeah, so it's like that's a retake animator, and so
So so
yeah.
that's why you say in the credits when we're like my kids, we went well, for whatever anime we went to go see in the theater, and then rolling the credits, it's got I don't know what the title may have just said animators, and then there's like 1,000 names
Yep.
underneath it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because they have to list not only who's in the studio, but if they farmed out, they have to list all their names.
Yep.
Yep.
Sometimes they separate them out, like with between the different studios, but sometimes they
Right.
smush it all together, and it's just like 5,000 people, and you're like, what? And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, that's everybody. And
Yeah.
sometimes they put the retake animators as animators and the layout artists as animator. It's like, so it's however they want to do it.
And it changes depending on like what kind of like film you're working on too.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, yeah, we went and saw the new Spider-Verse movie, and like the credits are as long as the movie itself because it's like that's like it's seeing all the names, but that's what it takes because they bring on like armies of animators to work on these films because they're not giving like a team to do the whole thing. They're like, okay, we've
Right.
got 1,000 shots that need to be animated. How many animators do we have? So an animator might work on 2 or 3 shots, but
Right.
but they've got like 500 animators. So there you go.
Yep. Yep.
But that's how they get it. That's how they get the time. That's how they get it done
Faster.
faster
Yeah.
because they just bring on
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. So, Bill, a lot of your credits were for a storyboard artist.
Yes.
So, what exactly does a storyboard artist do?
So storyboard artist's job is to visualize the script. Basically, I produce the blueprint for the animation to then either be given to someone like Karen or sent overseas. On the shows that I've been working on like Great North and Central Park and Housebroken. I'm what's called a production board artist, which basically means that the boards that we produce are really clean. Like they're almost like polished drawings that we send overseas. There's a lot of drawings because we're almost drawing.
You're almost animated.
We're like one
Yeah.
step shy of animating them because basically we're drawing most of the key poses for all the acting. So there'll be a lot of stuff of like if I'm a character. This is terrible radio, by the way, because I'm about to do something visual when it's just going to be audio.
Right.
But the idea would be like if I'm a character eating a plate of spaghetti, I'll need a pose. Not just you think like, oh, they just need a pose for hand on the like fork down the plate, fork in mouth, But no, actually, I need a pose for fork on the plate, fork up from the plate. My mouth is open, fork goes into my mouth. I bite. And then out, and then back to the table. That's like 9 poses, and I have to draw all those so that because what happens with the way the production works is that they send then those boards overseas, and they're so clean that then the animators over there because they're not paid to think, they're just paid to trace the boards and draw the drawings in between. So that's why our boards have to be that clean, and we have to demonstrate all those poses because the animators there they're like, okay, that's what's there. They just go pose to pose. And if those poses aren't there, they're gonna be like, well, you didn't give us that pose. They're not gonna do it. So that's why it's done that way. But that's a much more advanced level of storyboards. Basically, it's like, here's the script, what's happening. The script will say like, oh, it's an exterior shot of a beach. So you draw a beach and the characters are frolicking in the waves. And you just kind of picture that. And so you start with those big general ideas of like, okay, where are we? What's happening? And you just visualize it. And it's a lot like drawing comics or it's very similar language to it where it's just like, here's what's happening, here's the visual ideas, and here's the lines that go with it. And now the fun is because we've got like all this different software now that lets me like, I can add sound effects or I can hear the character as they're delivering their line. So I can not just draw like, oh, a character is saying, giving some stock pose. I can actually like hear the voice actor giving their lines now. And so it's like, oh, I can add a little nuance and subtlety to the performance. And so there's a lot of cool stuff you can do, but that's basically the gist of a storyboard artist.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Yeah, I'd always pictured the storyboards as like more generic, but I guess if you want somebody to animate it, you've got to be much more detailed so they know.
Like movie storyboards are a lot more of that generic, like if you see like, I know there's like been like books on like Star Wars and stuff where they show some of the storyboard sequences for stuff. Those are much more.
That's a cinematic
Those are
storyboard.
cinematic
Yeah.
storyboards.
Totally
Live
different.
action
Yeah.
storyboards for like commercials, completely different because you don't have to show the animators. It's just basically like here's the shot. Then the actors can kind of they can give their point of view. They can give their pass on it. The director can give a pass on it. Different stuff, but the board is still there as like it's still that job of blueprint. But animated boards are a lot more involved because it's being passed on to then be
Right,
drawn over
right.
again.
And then again, yours are so detailed because of the way the production's set
Yep.
up that you don't really have communication with the animators. You have to communicate it all in the
It all
drawings.
has to be on the board,
So,
yeah, because I can't. They're not going to fly me out to wherever they're animating this, and
or
so
they
I can
can't
sit there and be
go.
like, "Oh, see, actually,
Yeah,
this is that
they
character's
can't go
hand."
across the
Yeah,
room to talk to the board artist or talk to the director to see what their vision was. When you have an animation team in house, the animators are more involved, so
that's
they know
true.
what's going on. So the boards can be a little looser,
Yeah,
or a little simpler, and don't have to be fully animated. Yeah.
that's true. Yeah.
So it's all it's all very complicated. Yeah.
So now your production company, you guys have been work or did work on a show called Maxine Lowell, the
Oh yeah,
super drag hero.
yeah.
That looked really interesting. I watched the trailer for it, and that looked pretty great. Now, how did you guys get that gig to put a whole thing together?
Well, actually, we're still working on that right now.
Yeah,
We
it's
just
still
went
in
into
production.
post production with that, and that's been really fun to work on.
Yeah, all
We've
the
been having a
animation,
really great
all
time.
the animation has been wrapped up. So now we're the ones we're the ones doing the grindy job of putting it all
Post
together.
production of
Post
getting all the
production.
animation put together. But yeah, we got that through a recommendation from a friend. Yeah, he knew we'd
Yeah.
been we had our studio and we're working on things, and so yeah, he was actually an old friend from college. Actually, and we worked with him when we lived up in San Francisco for a while. We worked with him, and he called us up to see if we were available, and we were like, sure, because Maxi Lowell is a drag queen superhero, and I got super excited because I'm a huge fan of drag, and so we saw this, we heard about the story, we read about it, and it was such an awesome story about like finding yourself and inspiration and finding your inner superhero. We were like, oh, we got to do this.
Yeah.
This
Right,
is
right,
so
right.
great. This is so much fun. And our friend, he had set up kind of the style. He designed some of the characters, so he showed us some of that, and it just looked so fun and so cool. We were like, definitely, we're on board for this for sure. And it's
Yeah.
been a ride ever since. Yeah.
I love it. When can we expect that to come out so people can view it?
There's a tentative. We're tentatively looking at a release in 2024 in the summer, but we're not quite sure details. I know if you go to maxi.com, let me plug it. Go to maxi.com, sign
Right.
up for the newsletter, and as soon as when it's going to stream and when it's out, we will definitely blast it out to everybody so that you know.
We don't have
Nice.
specific details yet, but
Yeah.
yeah, definitely next year,
Yeah.
spring, summer, yeah, around there. So soon, we're really excited. So yeah.
All right. So, what are some current projects you guys are working on now?
Well, Maxi's the biggest one. Maxi's the first
Yeah.
movie we've ever worked on. It's an independent movie, and we've been focusing all our attention on Maxi for like the past couple of years now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so because yeah, it's been so important to us to really focus on it. So Maxi Lowell has been, you know, pretty much the only one we've been working on.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's been the biggest one. I've been back up on Twitch streaming, and I've been kind of like talking about animation. I'm doing warm up drawings and talking about my art process, that sort of
Yeah.
thing.
I was going to ask about, I saw that on your Instagram that you had lots of times posted about when you would be on Twitch.
Yeah,
And
I'm trying to right now. The schedule I'm committing to is every morning 9:30 Pacific in the morning. I get on and stream for about an hour, maybe a little bit more if I'm having a good time and working on something fun. And yeah, I'll stream everything from drawing, doing people sketching, doing animation, storyboarding, kind of just what it feels like. But I'm always open for questions. I have a great time with my chat. We talk about a lot of fun things. We talk about art, what it's like being an artist, and um, yeah, that's also kind of the project where I started doing that again I've been out of work now from Bento due to the strikes. So actually
Okay.
hearing all the news, the good news that's been coming out of the strikes has got me excited. Um,
and you've been helping more, Maxie.
yeah, I've been able to have that more on Max, so it's been a blessing in disguise because it's like now
Yeah.
I'm here available.
Yeah, he did a lot more of the early stuff with storyboards and design, and then when it switched over to animation, kind of that's when we switched gears
Yeah, you
over to
took
me.
over. Yeah.
Yeah, and then now that we're switching over to post production because animation's all in, now I've recruited him because he's more available. I'm like, you can handle the art bits and start putting stuff together.
Yep.
And then yeah, when the strike started, he went on hiatus. That was when he had more time, and it was like,
No, hey, the time to work on.
helps
Yeah,
get you started with some warm up drawings.
let's get this movie started and let's do some more artwork.
Yeah, man. All right, so let me ask you guys some like fun artist-based questions that I
Ooh.
know a lot of people might want to know about. So, what is your favorite kind of like genre or topic to draw or to work on? What is your favorite kind of things that you like to do? What gets you excited?
I
What?
love sketching people.
Oh yeah,
That's
that's
my
your
favorite
thing.
thing.
Yeah.
I worked for years as a caricature artist at
Yeah,
SeaWorld and
I
also in
was gonna ask if you ever had done any of that kind of stuff.
I did. Oh, I loved it. I did that. I was doing that when I met Karen in school. It gave me, it gave me a lot of confidence. So I was kind of like, I was like hot crap
Oh
at
yeah,
school. Like I was kind of a hot shot around school. But I love drawing people. Like that's my favorite thing to draw. Is just like I'll sit down. A lot of sketches I do nowadays is because I'm usually in the office working, so every time I go out and pick up the kids, I'm like in my car, just looking at people and sketching them on my phone. It's my favorite thing to do. I still do is just doing quick, rough caricature sketches of them. Yeah, that's my favorite thing to
So
do.
watch out if you're around him.
Yeah, watch out! If I'm
right.
around me, I might be drawing you.
He's I about to say he's not taking a picture. He's yeah. Mm,
See, for me, I'm totally different.
Yeah, you're
I
way
like
different.
everything else that's different, like personal art and stuff. Like there's the work art. Yeah, I like doing life drawing. I like life drawing sessions, like in studios and stuff. Like haven't gone to any since like the pandemic and everything. That kind of shut that down a lot. But before then, I'd go to like the CTN
Oh
studio
yeah,
and do
those are
life
fun.
drawings. And Warner Brothers had a cool life drawing thing because you go on the on their they'd hold them in the back lot for some reason. It'd be like just like the random houses, and you go in and there's like, yeah, there's an artist model, and we just hang out and have pizza for like a couple hours and
I remember those.
draw people.
Those were
Those
fun
were
though.
bizarre and cool.
Those were
Yeah.
fun though because it wasn't just like regular like life drawing. They come
They'd
in
be in
like they'd be in
costumes.
like the
Yeah.
craziest costumes. Like we had some like retro space girl came in with like she had a ray gun and a helmet and like a full on get up, and we had
That was a cool one.
someone came in dressed as Velma from Scooby Doo. Like those
Oh,
were fun.
the old guy in the gladiator gear.
Oh,
That was hilarious
old
because
gladiator guy was great.
yeah, it was
all
great,
right.
but he was so into it. He was having so much fun.
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
intense.
intense.
Yeah,
But when I'm not doing work stuff, I'm a crafty person.
you like the craft.
I like making stuff out of Sculpey. In fact, it's a great like fidget thing that I have at my desk.
Right.
I have a bunch of little Sculpies and I sit and I just like knead it. And then over Halloween, I made a little like ghost necklace because I was like, here's a ghost and there's a ghost and there's another ghost, and then do stuff like
Well, because
that.
you're also waiting for a whole bunch of files to render.
To render.
So, yeah.
And our joke is an unwatched computer always crashes. So it's like you got to
Yeah.
sit there and watch it
You
for
have to
some
sit and
reason.
watch it, don't you? Yep.
I don't get. It's the
Yep.
opposite of the watch pot boiling. It's the opposite. It's
Yeah,
like,
no, I have to watch that progress bar go, or it's
I
gonna
don't know
crash.
why.
I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm gonna step away, and it's gonna
It's gone.
explode or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know how many videos I've spent all this time working on, and then you hit export, and then it's
Yep.
like if you don't sit and watch it, if you come back, it's like
Yeah.
stalled or something in the middle.
Yep.
Right.
Something's
Yeah.
gonna happen.
Or go to the restroom and come back and it's all like the entire window's gone. You're like, why?
Yep.
Like what happened?
I like to see it as like these files are our babies, and so I'm just being a good parent, and I'm sitting there holding his hand. I'm waiting for it. Are you okay in there? You knock on the bathroom stall. You okay in there? Yeah, I'm fine. Okay.
Right.
And you sit back and you wait, you're being present so that it can do its
Mhm,
thing, you know.
mhm, mhm.
All right,
And
so
turn
I
your
got
back.
like a
Shenanigans.
nerdy question for you guys.
Ooh.
Like, what kind of like software and tech do you guys use to create your work?
Oh.
Well, it's always changing.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. Like right now,
Adobe Animate.
I'm a big Adobe fan. Yeah, because it's like, you know, you don't want to buy multiple subscriptions because they're all subscription based now. So
Yeah.
it's like save the money. So it's like, yeah, we work in Adobe whenever we can. But I really like Harmony. Harmony's great for like traditional animation. Like
Yeah.
I did a couple of reanimates just for fun. I don't know. Have you heard of those? Like it's where they take old classic scenes and have
Cartoon
a
episodes or
big
something like
bunch of
that. Yeah.
artists just come together and split it up and just reanimate the scene however they want. They're so much fun.
Oh, fun.
They're just, you know, like volunteer. They're like hobby things, but
Yeah.
they're a lot of fun to see like what everyone does with their style and what they do. And so I like using Harmony for those because it's much more leaning towards for like traditional animation. You can
Yeah.
it really feels like drawing on paper, like the old stuff, you know. And but yeah, it's always changing. Who knows what's going to be next? Yeah, it's like we're constantly learning like the next program. It feels like.
Yeah, but for us, like, yeah, like we, Adobe Animate's been our bread and butter for years on everything, and it was funny enough because so we got out of school after we graduated, and we graduated, and we got married, and we moved up to LA, and we were trying to get into the industry, and we found out about a it was Flash at the time, animation workshop being thrown by some of the big Flash animation studios in town because they wanted to train a new crop of animators. So we're like, sure. So we both took a test to get into the class. We both got in, and we learned more about this program in that 4-week class than we spent the last 3 years in school learning. Like, why did we go to school?
Right.
But
Right.
all those techniques that we learned in that class, like we just been using for the last like probably 15 years on
But
different things.
I've definitely learned. Yeah, I've definitely learned. It's just a tool. You know,
Yeah.
it's just like because we have used a ton of other programs in like games and stuff. And
Oh yeah, like Spine.
there's
and
a
other
bunch
things,
of yeah, even like free animation programs. Like you can get like we get on iPad and stuff like that. You can even get on your phone. Like our daughter's even gotten into some animation stuff on the phone, and it's all pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
But like it's all just the same tool, just a different
I've
package.
I've actually taught. I currently teach a class. I teach a class on like comics and visual storytelling. But I also taught some classes in Adobe Animate. But I feel like teaching classes on the program is not helpful. I think it's more like just teach the skills of animation, because whether you're doing it in CG or 2D, all the fundamentals are the same. You still want to have arcs in action and slow in, slow out, and all these different fundamentals are still the same. Using the different programs is like, I don't know. It's so funny too, because when I was teaching the class, like they had a curriculum that they were prepared for me, so I was just kind of just going by the curriculum. But I was like, I don't use any of this stuff when I use the
Right.
program. It's more like you're just teaching how the program. All right, so they know how to use the program, but they still know how to animate in the program. So I adjusted the class to actually like, all right, we're actually going to teach you how to animate in the program, not just use the program. And I feel like there's sometimes in classes, this is me getting up on my soapbox here, but sometimes in classes it feels like they're just teaching you the program, but not actually how you're going to use it. And that's probably why we learned so much in that 4-week course, because they're like, we're going to teach you, you might know this program, you might not, we're just going to teach you how to animate it and what we do. And it's like the rest of the stuff, like you just realize the rest of the stuff is more like fluff, and you get into like the meat and potatoes of it.
Yeah, like you can learn how to use the program.
Yeah,
that's like secondary to it.
yeah. It's still learning how to animate.
Yes. All right. So you guys have been drawn a long time. Have you put any of your art onto your body? Do you have any tattoos?
I have one.
I don't have any. I'm a large hairy man. I don't know if they'd find a place to put a tattoo on me.
Oh no. Okay.
You know, You can just get that Manscaped razor and go to it.
But the
Uh,
thing he's not mentioning is he can't commit enough. Like
Yeah, I can't commit.
he can barely commit to a Halloween costume, let
people, I
alone like
can't.
a tattoo on
People,
his
people be
body.
like, "Hey, what's your favorite movie?" I'm like, today. So I feel like even if it's my, because you're normally I'm always like I'd be all about my own artwork, and I'd be like,
yeah.
this is gonna be on me forever. Am I always gonna like this artwork of mine? I'm
He
sitting
just
there.
questions it all the time.
Because so I yeah.
Although, yeah, even though, yeah, I'm not tatted up. Like neither of us are. I really respect it. I respect the
Oh,
art form like crazy.
tons of respect for it.
Dang,
Yeah,
like that is like some of the stuff they're coming out with. Like I really love
Yeah.
seeing the different. I love art in general, like all of it. Like it's just I love all kinds of art. But like seeing the kinds of art they put on people's body, it's just like it's so amazing. In high school, I did henna tattooing
Yeah.
for a little bit for some extra money at a Ren fair. And that was hard enough because you're not just drawing on a flat surface anymore. You're drawing around
Right. Yep.
and they move. And it's just like, and sometimes like, yeah, you'll be like, oh, it's going to be a great flower. And then you look at it and it's like completely wonky because it's going around. And you're like, oh, at least mine you could wash off, It's like,
Right.
but it was so much fun. Yeah. And then seeing like the kind of artistic stuff they're making with like portraits and watercolor
Yes.
looking things, and I'm like, how in the world? Like, how do they do that? Yeah, it's impressive.
nothing but respect for other tattoo artists. I had a bunch of old caricature friends that went into tattoos, and it's like more power to them. Like they make
It's art.
they're doing some
Yeah.
amazing work, and they're when you're doing art, and I know this from my experience doing caricatures, if you're doing art in front of someone, if either you're doing a tattoo or you're drawing something, and it is stressful to like have your stuff get that instant feedback, because you're always putting a bit of yourself, even if you're drawing like, oh, draw this character that's going to get tattooed on me, you're always putting a bit of yourself into it, and you're always putting that on risk of being judged. And so it's like for like especially tattoo artists, like I don't know how they do it. I mean, with at least a character, if they don't like it, fine, I'll tear it up and there you go. But it's like they don't like your tattoo. It's like, oh man, sorry.
Sorry about that. Now, you mentioned a Ren Fair. What I was going to ask is, I was reading an article you guys were interviewed in, and you talked about your love of going to cons.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, what is it about like con that you guys like going to? And for folks listening, we're talking about like Comic Cons and
Mhm.
things
Yes.
like that. So, what is it about a con that you guys like so much?
Oh man. Well, since we both grew up in San Diego, we were right next to the
Yep.
big one,
San
San Diego
Diego
Comic
Comic-Con,
Con.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
went there a lot, and it's kind of funny because my friend group in high school and stuff, even though I was all into art and everything, that I was like, should I go to Comic Con? They're like, nah, it's stupid.
Just
And then I met this guy,
guy.
and we were dating. I don't even think we were really dating. And he's like, hey, I have an extra pass. Do you want to go? And I was like, sure, free pass. I'll go check it out. And so I went. And the joke was, I got there and I ditched him. I was like, I got too much stuff to see.
Yeah,
Just
she
poof.
disappeared in a cloud, like a Karen-shaped cloud, and then came back covered in swag and buttons and covered like comic pages. Like
it's just so inspiring. Like, and with most of the cons we've gone to, there's like two sides to it. There's like the fan side, but then there's also the industry side. It's like especially with San Diego Comic Con, probably because it's so big.
yeah,
They have a lot of industry panels and a lot of stuff. And granted, those aren't the big ones that are like packed and full of people, but they still get a decent amount of people, and we can see like state of the animation industry was a big one I love to go see, or like meeting the artists of different movies or something. It's like there's so many different ones you can go see. It's almost like a industry conference at the same time.
Yeah, I bet
It's like
so.
it's
there'll
definitely
be like a line down the hall. Everyone's excited to go see like the new sneak peek for the new Doctor Who season or something like that. And here we are, a couple of nerds getting in line to go watch see some guy talk about his webcomic that he's like
Right,
that he's
right.
gonna tell us how to market it. And we're like, yeah.
or talk about like the state of like LGBTQ comics, or or like diversity in animation, and we're like, ooh, yeah, let's go, let's do it. We get all
Right.
excited, and our kids are bored to tears.
Oh yeah, our kids are. We totally turn them off to Comic Cons, like because
Wow.
we'll go in there and because especially going down San Diego, which is like our hometown, we've got friends and family and other like old coworkers we'll meet up with, and we probably are just in. I mean, we've been talking for like 5 days now on your podcast, and like it's the same thing. Like we'll get together with old friends, it's like, oh my god, how are you? And our kids are just like dead at like our feet as they're
like,
pouring to tears.
And yeah, Artist Alley too. Yeah, we love going through Artist Alley and just like cruising through, and because it's a mix of both talking to artists we know and people we
Meeting new
follow,
ones.
and also
Yeah.
meeting new ones. Yeah, it's definitely where we definitely scope out like people like that we're like impressed with their work, or we like their ideas, because we know in the future, we want to build up so we're producing our own IP, like our own
Yes.
independent projects. So we have that in the back of our mind. Like we're definitely focusing. Maxi is our focus right now, but that's in the back burner. Like that's the hard part about doing this. You have to be patient.
Yeah.
It's like we want to do it all right now. We can only do so much,
Yeah,
but like
exactly.
we definitely have that in the back of our mind when we're going around looking at artists. And also it's to get a finger on the pulse of like what's big. It's so
Right.
funny because it's not overt, but there seems to be a theme every year for the different cons, like what's gonna be big. And it's so organic. It's so funny
Yeah.
because it's like you can see it, like what are a lot of artists doing in Artist Alley, what's going on in small press. Like, okay, there's a whole bunch of Cthulhu stories now, like something's going on. It's like it's a lot more sci-fi this year, or it's a lot more cute some years, and some years it's a lot more gritty. It's like you can see the ebb and flow of the industry going
Yeah.
at the same time. Yeah, it's really cool. It's really inspiring. We have the best time.
Yeah, if anything, every year we go, it's kind of like a refresh on our motivation and inspiration.
Right.
'Cause you go through a whole lot, and then you go to this awesome place. And I've been to different cons. Like we've been to San Diego Con, we've been to LA Comic Con, we've been to like Emerald City Comic Con, Seattle, all these different
Right.
places. And it's like there's an energy you feel. Like you get in there, and it's like even if it's just everyone's there just because we're all big Batman fans, and so signing Batman comics. It's like everyone's there because this is stuff they love, and they're happy to see other people that love it too. And so everyone there is usually just like they're excited to just show you what they've got. They're excited to see your reaction to it, and that's inspiring. And you just it's like you get re-energized in your own ideas of like, man, yeah, we could. Oh my gosh, that gave me so many ideas for this thing we have, or this stuff, or I talked to this person, and it's like it's infectious, and it's like, and then it's like, okay, we can go another year. We all right, let's do another year. We do this. We can keep going.
And also it's a huge networking event. Like it's so bizarre and fun. Like you never know where your next job's going to come from. And actually that's where Gorillaville came from.
Gorillaville,
someone
we saw Comic-Con.
We got jobs on games because of an old friend we ran into and talked to in Artist LA Comic Con, and their friend was standing right next to there, happened to be a games producer.
Yeah.
Bam. It's like it's you never know where it's going to come from.
And it's so awkward too, because you don't think about it like that. It's like you go to Comic-Con.
You can't, because it'll drive you nuts.
Half the time you're in a crowd at Comic-Con, and like you're in like a crowd of like 10 people. Probably like 8 of those people are a professional of some kind. Like, because we've been doing it, we've been getting in for free for the last like 20 years. Professionals get in for free. Professional artists, writers, all that stuff. You get in for free. You get a free pass. And so most likely you're standing next to someone who's a professional of some kind. So sometimes it's just you turn around and say, "Hey, what do you do?" And they're like, "Oh, I work on this." Yeah. "Hey, I work on this." Right. "Let me get you a coffee. Let's go talk about it."
But you can't get that into your head, or you'll get too nerve-wracked.
You'll get too nerve-wracked.
You can't constantly be thinking about it, because then you're like, I have to sell myself to everyone I talk
to. You don't
want
to sell to yourself, but it's like it's that easy, but not you don't want to take it too far.
Don't expect it, but like it's a possibility.
Yeah.
It's a balance. It's hard to describe. Yeah.
Although fun story. So we were in line for a Penn and Teller show at Comic-Con, and we were sitting talking in line, and then they were passing out cards for the event. So it comes down a stack of cards, and I turn around and hand the card to the guy behind me, it's the the angry video game nerd.
A YouTuber we follow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right there behind me, and I like glee like nerded gleed
Oh,
out like
he-
like,
He
I felt
yelled so
so bad. I
loud.
felt so bad. I probably embarrassed the
He
poor
yelled
guy.
so loud, everyone turned to look. Yeah.
Oh, funny. All right, so I got one last question for you guys. What would be like your dream character or studio or genre to work with? That something that maybe already exists that you
Like,
think would be that you would be go nuts if you got an opportunity to jump on that project.
oh, like a project we'd want to work on.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
something that's already going.
Gotcha.
Something that's already going well. I really hope I get to work on the Great North again.
Right?
I mean, I've been having so much fun on that show.
Just put that out there.
Let me just put that out there in the universe. Honestly, though, like there's a lot of good stuff that's out there. I honestly though, it would have to be. I would be like overjoyed if it was something that was like our idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I have like we have so many ideas that I want to get at. Like I want to tell like if it was like if we were working on a project like on the scope of Maxi, but it was like one of our ideas. Wow, I don't even know how I'd handle that. Yeah.
Yeah, for me it would be because we do have some because we did before we landed Maxi, we were doing like development stuff and doing some pitching and things like that. So we do have some ideas that we do want to develop and make. And my dream would be to be on to be working on something long term, like a show.
Right.
Like
Yes.
like it wouldn't even have to like streaming would be amazing, yeah, but like even like a YouTube one, like something small, even as long as it's just like
Consistent.
sustaining and fun and just something because I love animated movies, they're great, but I also love animated shows because they grow and develop, like you watch the pilot of a show, like a big show, like say like Futurama, you watch the pilot and then you watch like their best episodes and it's like completely different because
It's grown.
and the ability to work on something and just have it grow and develop is so cool. It's like that's kind of the bittersweet part of working on like one-off projects because you get to the end and you're like, wow, I learned so much, I can't wait. Oh wait, it's done.
Yeah.
Like shoot, but like an episode thing, you get to really get into a groove, especially working with a team.
Yeah.
Like we definitely had that on Yabba Dabba Dinosaurs. It's so sad. It was a fun show. So sad it got
Yeah.
cut and like erased from existence, but like
It was a good. We had a really good
we
team.
had a great team, yeah, and it was like we were getting going and getting rolling, and it was like you learn how to work with these people and you learn how to go. So anything that would just like be like that, I would just be ecstatic. Yeah.
That's kind of it's one of the bittersweet things about working animation. Animation is such a collaborative effort. Like it is
Yeah.
it is all about like you'll have people who are rock stars because they get notarized, but it is down to it is a team effort. Everyone has to be on board doing their best, but also like having a good time, having a positive effect because all that energy goes into the project and all that if it's all fun, positive energy, you're going to get it out of the project on the other side. And
Exactly.
it's so collaborative. And that's one of its strength is because, yeah, like, I mean, we had that on Yabba Dabba. I've had it on Great North. We've had it on with our team for Maxi. You want to cultivate that and you want to get that team and you grow and everyone kind of learns what like, oh, okay, this is what we need to do. And everyone gets better and better and better. And you end up with a well-oiled machine. And then the project might end or something happens and it almost becomes like a tragedy. And that's the bittersweet part of it because you can spend all this time building it and growing it like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing ever. And then all of a sudden it's gone.
Everyone goes their separate ways.
It's so much fun.
That's the best feeling. Yeah. Working with our team on Maxi, like it's been so cool. Being able to direct the team and seeing like, oh, you have more strengths in in emoting, or you have more strengths in effects, or and stuff like that, and like adjusting people around. And then when I don't know how to describe it. You can feel it when they fit, and they just get excited, and they get inspired, and they send their work back, and you're like, that's it, you did it. Like we had that on design, and we had that on animation, and it's just like this is the perfect spot for you. It's like we figured it out, and they say they're having fun and you can see it in their work and it's just like that's that's the key right there.
Yeah.
And that's the most inspiring part. Yeah.
All right. So to end the show, I asked people the same 6 questions, and it's interesting to see what everyone says. All
Okay.
right. So question number 1: what is one of the most beautiful things you have ever seen?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
I know I put the hard one first.
Oh
Real light
boy.
real light questions. The first thing, well, since we've been talking animation and stuff like that, the first thing to pop in my head, because if I think too much, I could think of a bazillion different things.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the animation world, we went and saw that movie. Oh shoot, what was it called? Loving Vincent.
Yeah.
And that was that movie where they animated it, where every frame was an oil painting, and it was all about
Whoa.
Vincent Van Gogh, and it is so good. Like that, I think is the most beautiful like animated movie I've ever seen. And I think it's streaming. I think, I'm not sure where, but it's definitely worth a watch if you ever get a chance to see it. And it's just like it's
Yeah,
so
it's
beautiful.
gorgeous.
And I've always been a fan of Van Gogh too. So it's like combining of the artist
Right.
in a style of his artwork was just like it made my brain explode. Yeah, it was just so beautiful.
For me, most beautiful thing I ever saw. So we were going to a fundraiser for Maxi. We were it was in San Jose, where and we were meeting up with our other executive producer, and we were doing a fundraiser to raise money to actually help to pay for animation. And he wanted us there. And Karen had done a whole bunch of work putting together these these scenes for the movie to kind of get people more excited about it. And she had been rushing getting this all together because we need to have something to get ready for this
But I wanted it to
fundraiser.
look really
But we
great,
wanted it
yeah.
to look really good. I hadn't seen anything. I knew she'd working on this. Like I was working on other stuff. I was helping other things, and so I hadn't seen these things. And we get there, and she's even like, I don't even remember what they look like. I hope this works. And so we're kind of like both in the dark. And then the lights go down. The MC's on stage, like, and here's a scene from Maxie the Wow. And the lights go on, the screams come on.
Oh, I was so nervous.
And it looks gorgeous. The sound plays wonderfully. The joke hits, and everyone laughs, and it's like, oh, we made that. That was beautiful. Like it's like I could feel the weight just lift off my shoulders. It's like, oh, that was beautiful.
Especially when everyone laughed at the first joke.
Yeah, everyone laughs at the first joke. You're like, oh god, thank God.
Like, yay, we did it.
What is your favorite smell?
Really?
Chocolate chip cookies.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
That feels like low hanging fruit, but
mine's a funny one, and it comes from having kids. It's the smell of lavender, but it's the lavender they use in like baby products. Like the lavender baby soaps, and they put in a lot of toys to make them sleepy. And I think like we have 2 kids, so it's like pretty close together. So it was so many years of like smelling that, and it was just like, oh, like I go by the aisle at Target. It's like, oh, there's that smell. It worked better on me. My kids never wanted to sleep, but I'd go to sleep, no problem.
What's your favorite kind of sandwich?
Italian.
Yeah, you're the sandwich guy. He's got like making sandwiches. Like he marinates the lettuce, and he does the whole thing. Nice. He's got a whole system.
Oh yeah, guy has some rosemary to it. Always helps. Rosemary and Italian sandwich. Oh, forget about it.
No, the Italians are good. You can't go wrong with that.
Oh, can't go wrong with an Italian sandwich.
I think my standard is a good turkey melt with bacon on it.
Ooh. Yeah. We just ate. We had like Hawaiian barbecue for dinner, and I'm already hungry. This is
you're like, I want a sandwich.
I want a sandwich
now. What's your favorite kind of drink?
Oh, it's as long as I'm the fruity like frou drink person. So anything sweet and colorful, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Nice. Mine's coffee. Like I like the bitter stuff. I like the
you like the bitter stuff like your heart.
Yeah, like, I don't know why. I love drinks that like it's the joke that like slap you in the face and make you feel alive. Like
Yep. I love it. What is something that makes you happy every time it happens?
It's if I show someone some of my artwork or something I made and they smile, like a genuine smile.
Yes.
Like
Yeah, I
that
could
gives
see
me
that one.
goosebumps, and like if
Yep.
it's and if it's like a big thing, like when we did the Maxi thing, it's like it can bring you to tears, just like you're happy with it, oh my god, because that's the biggest and most nerve wracking thing to show someone
Right.
something you made, and it's like if you see disappointment in their face, it's like you just killed a part of my soul
Yeah.
right there,
I gotta echo that because that was my most favorite thing when I did caricatures, is because you're sitting there talking with someone, you're getting to know them, you're putting on a piece of paper, and then you rip it off and you show it to them, and you see them like just laugh. Or
but there's a moment before they're
there's
going
a
to turn to
moment. There's a moment.
Right.
There's a moment where they're looking at it. And it's so funny because I have a bunch of old caricature artists that I follow, and I love their content. Like they'll post like their drawing reveals on like TikTok and stuff like that, and I love seeing that reaction to people because like, all right, here you go, and then you see that moment where they're just like, and then like depending on the drawing, they're either like
Right.
laughing or they're like embarrassed, or it's that is the
Yeah.
best part. That is always fun.
I love it. What advice would you give yourself as a kid if you could send one bit of advice to yourself when you were younger, what would it be?
Stop worrying so much.
Yeah.
Everybody says that. Everybody says that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be more
Don't
like,
worry
yeah,
about it.
stop worrying about what other people think.
Yeah.
And to tell myself that you do have something to contribute. So,
Yeah.
like just the way you are.
Look,
Yeah.
everyone
Like,
says that because we all make the same stupid mistake. And I could time travel right now to me as a 14-year-old and be like, hey, you're going to do fine. Stop worrying about other people think about you. And I'd be like, whatever, old man. And I
Yep.
blow it off. Like,
like, shut up. What do you think? What do you know?
what do you know, me from the future? Like,
You know. I
Yeah.
love it. All right. And for just for me to keep my podcast rolling, do you have someone who has been doing something for a very long time that would like to come on the show and talk about it?
oh,
It's been doing something for a very long time. I have to think about that.
I could name any one of our art friends. Like,
Yeah. We have a ton of art friends. Yeah. Because we've all been doing this for a very long time. Because we all love it and we're all doing it. That'd be something I tell my young self too. Is just like, stop being swayed by other people. Do what you do. Yeah.
Yeah, do what you do. Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
Let's see who. Yeah, definitely some of our art friends, animation friends.
do we need to like give you like a specific name or?
No, you can just no, we can just touch back later.
Sure.
Yeah,
I've talked to all kinds of people. I an actress friend of mine and a motivational speaker,
Oh, cool.
and I talked to a up and coming artist in our area, and talked to a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, and IT guys, and Lego collectors, and action
Oh,
figure
Lego.
collectors, and yeah, you name it. I've talked to a lot of people, so
Yeah,
yeah,
I
we'll
do
be
have
able
a
to
friend
just
who
let
does the
everybody know.
Lego conventions.
Oh, I should send my brother your way because my brother's been doing cosplay. he's like a big name in cosplay. He's been a big name in cosplay for a while, and he would love to talk about that.
You think so?
Yeah.
Oh, he
Love
would
to ask
love
him.
to.
We're gonna
Bring
see
'em on.
tomorrow, so there you go.
I talked to a cosplay art. She makes a lot of stuff, and she runs. You would like this, Karen, because she runs a lot of the drag shows at
Oh,
the
fun.
Dragon Con in Atlanta.
Oh, awesome!
Cool.
She's done several of those, and we have a big Ren Fair here in Charlotte,
Oh,
that
fun.
she takes part in too. Yeah, so yeah, drop my info to your brother. I'd love to talk to him.
Yeah, see
Thank
if
you.
he's
Yeah,
interested.
yeah, I'll let him know.
How cool.
All right. Well, Karen and Bill, thanks for being on the show.
Oh man, thanks for having
Oh,
us.
this was great. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
If people want to find your work, where can they go to find your work?
Well, the biggest one will be our studio site, chubbybeagle.com. We do have personal sites, which are actually linked to that one.
Yeah, there's our
Yeah,
own personal
they
site.
are.
They're linked.
BillDrastal.com.
Bill Drastal.
Mine's a little different. It's caretoons.com with a K, Karetuons.
And then
But Chubby Beagle's the more updated one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
if people want to find me streaming on Twitch, I'm at twitch.tv/Bill Drastal. Drastal, because everyone misspells my last name.
And then there's always the Maxi site, maxi.com,
Maxi.com.
which has the updates on the movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Remember, folks, find what makes you happy and get to it. There's a lot of life out there to live, so make it a good one. Be kind, be nice, be good, and everybody have a great week.